health concerns of the community. I'm concerned, like the emissions, and I've learned a lot just reviewing some of the forum over there they had at the conference center, and I'm concerned about the emissions and the possibilities of this causing health hazards for the citizens of this community. But I'm equally concerned about the economics, the economic impact that I talked with Mr. Gilbert Waldman. He's emailed me back, had some emails with him. This company, the Wygrave plant. As I told him, he said he wanted to let the community know about the economic impact here. I said to him in the email, Mr. Waldman, I think the community here really understands the economic impact of $110 million very well. But I want to understand the economic impact for the minority in this area. I'm a minority contractor, I'm a minority activist. I certainly want to see minority opportunity, And I think this company is getting tax incentive credits, and this in largely part because President Barack Obama's tax cut and extending the Bush tax credits. The Republicans, hey, you give me the tax extensions and we'll give you unemployment. But again, in the spin, these guys are going to ultimately get a chance to take tax incentives. And why the government gives these tax incentives? So we can get off of fossil fuels, and so that we can alternative renewable energy. This concept is great. And then it also does it so that power plants can kind of offset the cost, and so low-income people can hopefully get a benefit. Minorities getting a benefit from lower power rates. But as I talked to Mr. Waldman here, Gilbert, I expressed to him after the $110 million, I think it's somewhere around $30 million worth of tax incentive that's going to go to large C corporations. These are registered companies that are, registered with the U.S. Department of Treasury, that can only get those big tax write-offs, which they could possibly get over a period of years, or they have an option to get it in the investment tax credit. We're speaking of Mr. Colonel of investment tax credit. Okay. And so, yes. And so under those, they may be able to get it, they may can elect to take it cash out, or they can take them over a period of years. As I told him, all these forums that we've had, I've learned so much about the health, and you explained to me, I love your 3 reasons why you put the plant there. I've heard a lot of times these plants get dumped in the south end of town, and we have some ends more minority. And you said, this area is not by the census in a, quote, minority area. So, okay, be it if you will, if the census says that, so it's not. But typically, it's been said in some EPA review, this is reason 4, they has a tendency to dump some of this stuff into the into minority population areas. But again, as I expressed to him, I'm very concerned about the economics. And here is the Department of Energy Diversity Plan. And I can see from you all's board, and I know it's got a little mess over in Copeland going on today, and he's not here today, but Attorney Roy Copeland, I think he adds a great bit of diversity to you guys' board there, and as I look over now, me standing up, it may put a little diversity there. But Roy there, a very smart attorney, black African-American attorney, I think it has had immensely to this board diversity. Department of Energy has a diversity plan that includes minorities and opportunities. And I know it's not the industrial part, but in your incentive package, you want to encourage them to deal with 75 to 100% of local people. Mr. Minchew, I understand what it is around here with people. Sometimes you try to do the right thing here, but sometimes you got powerful people here, political people, and they kind of tend to side with you and go against you one way or the other for you feeling what's right. I'm speaking out for what's right, and I done had it happen to you. It happened to me. I understand your position, and I feel like Valdosta has some of that. We had some dark past here. We work in a good old boy network system. Some of the larger contractors, I've been told by some, look, these relationships was made 40 years ago. The local people that you said, and a lot of times these big contractors get these contracts, and I'm not afraid to call their names, Scruggs, Greens, and all those guys. They're not going to play fair because the simple fact that, relationships were made 40 years ago. And I done had someone to tell me that, and I respect them just as much as Green. Look, this ain't personal. These relationships were made 40 years ago. So I respect that. I respect him. He's just as young as I am. But one thing, I don't think he's so smart of a businessman. He just had generational wealth. He just had more opportunity than I had. But as I tell him, I look him in the face. He's man enough to tell me that, listen, this relationship was made 40 years ago. It doesn't matter if you were 20 cents a foot. You know, meaning on silk fence that I installed, you will continue to use who you've been using. And I don't have a problem with Brad on that. Honestly, I don't. He said the county bids me a project, I feel I should do 100% of it. That's community. You know, so I understand. I'm out here. I'm in the trenches. I know the way these local boys play. And you know, and again, I understand what you're going through from the political. Some of these appointments are appointed by mayors and by city councilmen. So if either you in with them or you're not, and then they're going to side with you. I understand where you at. I'm not political. It doesn't matter to me. Reams can't hurt me. Scruggs can't hurt me. Amblin can't hurt me. I'm not afraid of them. You can ask Larry Dean. I had a Zay City Trail project. They tried to cut me out of some money on the project. I reported him to the EPA. He had to put up the fence. He fired me off the job. I reported to the city. The city of Valdosta didn't do nothing. They tried to minimize it. What I'm trying to say is, I can come up here and talk to you all day long, but you all realize that it's a problem here. You know, okay, out of that 70%, and now, like I said, you said Roy is going to always ask you, what are you doing with VSAP? I would just ask this authority to look at that 70%. You know, with 75, you said 75 to 100%. Let's look at that percent of contractors. You just mentioned one on the west side, and you're going to let them get going, Farrell, Junior Farrell Club. You know, okay, white company. And again, you know, all this I'm saying is fair play is needed here. You know, and this diversity plan, and Will Gilbert, I told him, I think that needs to be expressed in some form. It needs some more form, just like all these forms we done had about the health. I've heard a good bit of it, and it's got my stomach full. I got like a belly of it. But what I would love to hear just as much is how these low-income people over in these areas can take some of that economic and put it and feed their families. Because we all are hurting, not just, not just the few select. President Barack Obama instituted this money to bail these guys out, to help these big renewable energy guys. Without that money and that tax credit, they wouldn't be doing as good as they're doing. Now, when they come here, handcuff them. It's all right to deal with hostage taking. You know, as my point is,
Mr. Barber, please wrap it up.
Okay, and close. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, but it just, I feel like just as much time has been elaborated on the health concern, and maybe some people say it's because it's a white environmental group, they get more attention, you know, and some whites don't want to come, and minorities don't want to come up and scared to talk. And that's all I got to say. And I'm just being honest about it, and if I have to write reports to the U.S. Department of Justice, I will, and it doesn't matter.
Thank you very much.